to No Surrender, ladies and gentlemen. I'm going to say this about this No Surrender pay-per-view, which it wasn't a pay-per-view, it was a regular Impact, but still, it is a pay-per-view-esque Impact. It actually was good. I was thoroughly entertained throughout the entire show. And they did manage to do some progression, and they also managed to tease me. And that's something I'm not getting from the WWE at all. I'm sorry. As I've said before, the WWE has not given me any interest. Sorry, my allergies are messing with me. The WWE has not given me any interest at all. They haven't. When it comes to Night of Champions, there's almost nothing there that I'm interested in. But in this show, I actually was thoroughly interested and kept entertained throughout the entire show. Opening, the Battle Royal. Havoc was the only thing that was made to be interesting there. But I will say this, that I'm happy to see Rebel, and I said this myself, and I don't know if anyone else on the internet has said this, where maybe they have or maybe they haven't. I'm sure that I might be one of the few that did say it. Rebel was going to become a wrestler. Eventually it was going to happen. And now she has, because when it came down to it, the last two women next to Havoc was Velvet Sky and Rebel. Rebel did a pretty decent job. I'm not saying she did a great job. No way. That is not even close to what needs to be done for Impact. She has a long way to go to become a wrestler. It's one of the bad things about TNA. They don't have a developmental anymore. They got rid of OVW. Unless they're going to renegotiate with OVW to try and do something there. Rebel really, and if I could be wrong, you guys tell me below, but Rebel honestly needs some work. She's going to stay there for a while and get some spots, and I can see that. And there's nothing wrong with that. Hopefully they'll do something more with her. Brittany wasn't too bad. Terrence Terrell did what she does, but in the end it was all about Havoc, and I love seeing Havoc, but I still don't like her music. But maybe it may grow on me as more time goes on with Havoc and then they give her time to talk. That is how a person's music can get over. When they combine their personality with the music correctly, even if it's not good music, it could still work for that person. Let's move on to the King versus the Sarge, Chris Melendez match. When you got Kenny King, you know you see him acting like a kid. In this respect, at least, he sounded a little more adult-like. He did. Basically saying to the Sarge, we see that you put yourself out there. We see that you've been giving good publicity to TNA. We see that you've been doing great things when it came to being a soldier. But you got to be on our side and lick the boots of a Bobby Lashley. He said no. He got himself beat up. And then we had the match. It's still awkward in the ring with Chris Melendez with that prosthetic leg. And I'm very scared here. This is the reason why. That prosthetic leg is made out of usually titanium. It is very solid, very hard. And the way people go in the ring, I tried to describe it last time, but I just couldn't figure out how to best state this. I think the best way to say this is, it's like putting your hand into a brick wall in a sense. At full strength, without training as a boxer or a martial artist, you can break your bones on a solid concrete wall. In that respect, with Chris Melendez and his titanium leg, the part where it bends is titanium. The rest is plastic. And in the end, there's a very good chance someone's going to break a bone on it. So, unless they make these matches incredibly short, which this was, and it was the wisest thing to do, as Paul Heyman always says, no matter if you like the man or not, accentuate the positive, hide the negative. Make Chris Melendez get treated like dirt because he's lost his leg. He's disabled. I know that better than most people because I am disabled. But doing it like this, short, sweet matches to give a little heat, well, a good amount of heat to whoever he's up against, and give a lot of pops for him, works. Make them short, TNA. Please, no 10-minute matches with Chris Melendez. 2 or 4 minutes. Maximum is maybe 4 minutes. Make them short, and it works. Chris wins. Kenny King still beats him down, and then Anderson gets involved in this. which will be fine. Let Anderson be, in a sense, like Chris Melendez's manager, in a sense, or his partner. Let them interchange where one will wrestle sometimes, one will wrestle the other time. Let the two veterans of our armed forces work that way. And Chris will get his time in, but then if something goes wrong, Anderson can always come in. It's not really good to see that because Zach Gowen didn't really have that much help when he was wrestling, but Zach did not work with his prosthetic in the leg. As you see, this is still kind of getting me. He didn't work with his prosthetic in the ring. And I'm going to move on from that. Homicide versus Joe for the X Division Championship. Now, I could leave this for the end, but I thought I'd do it now because I have my thoughts about the ladder match. I'm thinking I'm doing that last. When it comes down to this match, it was a good match, but it was not what I wanted because... Sorry, my allergies are really messing with me today. When it comes down to it, when you see this match, there's no feud between Homicide and Samoa Joe. So even though I was entertained with the match, I was dissatisfied with the entire X Division because there were no feuds. Until the match was over and Joe won, and Storm comes out, lays out Joe, chokes out Homicide, lets the great Sonata kick Homicide in the face, and then we get the first sighting of Manic in his new uniform. I'll say this about Manic. He's always never been a great character from what I understand. I have to say that a couple of times when he had the chance to be allowed to talk, JT Perkins really didn't talk that well. But it's kind of understandable. The guy, from what I understand, has never really had the opportunity to talk. So he's never had a chance to make a character to see if it could work. In this respect, if he can talk or not, letting Storm be the head of this new group is actually very good. Even though he just gave Homicide a splash, I was impressed with Manic. The nice new clothes, the attitude, even if it is the same, is something that's not bad. Well, of course, seeing him walk out to the ring with the hood built into his suit might not work all the way, because there's going to be points where that hoodie is going to be a problem when he has to wrestle. Maybe for now they'll have it in his uniform. Well, his ring attire, not uniform. But you get my point. I am interested in seeing what's going to happen in X Division with Storm, Sonata, and TJ Perkins. Now, the not great Manic, but the mysterious Manic. I'm giving him that name for now because I don't know what else to call him. Next, we have the Gunner and Bram match, which was only supposed to do something for Gunner and Shaw. Now, I missed the part about Gunner having a talk with Shaw saying, well, my leg's messed up, but don't come out to the ring. I missed that, unfortunately. But when it came down to it, hearing them talk about in commentary was okay. Commentary wasn't as bad as it normally is. I'm going to give them props in that respect. It wasn't bad. In this respect, they let people know there's something wrong with Gunner's leg. Gunner couldn't do it, and then Shaw clotheslining Gunner, and then Gunner basically losing the match and getting pissed at Shaw is the best thing. We've been wondering who is going to turn heel between the original three of Anderson, Gunner, and Shaw. Now we got it. Gunner and Shaw are now together. It's a good possibility Gunner's going to turn on Shaw. Will Gunner become heel? It looks like he probably will, and Shaw will stay a face. I don't know how this is going to progress, but at least they're doing some progression, which interests me. This is one of the things TNA has not been doing very well. They have a whole bunch of loose ends with some of the storylines that are small or big, and they have not been addressing them. In this respect, they have, and now I'm interested. Next, we have the Rude and Lashley match, the main event. Now, I'm glad they made sure they added in the MMA match that Lashley did. Of course, they're going to do an insert on the actual original video they did. They're going to have to, because no one knew what was going to happen with the match between Lashley and his opponent. Just don't. But in the end, they did a decent job with that. And they did, I'll say this, that the commentary for Taz usually is shit. Mike Tenay is usually shit. But they did it well enough this time because of the crowd, giving them something to work with. Because usually with these crowds with TNA, they're not really interesting. They don't really give me something. Throughout the night, we had a great popping and a great heat from the crowd. So that kind of made their commentary better. So that made the experience better for this match. Even though Kenny King really, let's be honest here, I don't want to see Kenny King helping Bobby Lashley. I don't want to see MVP helping Bobby Lashley, but it's understood it had to be done. You gotta protect Lashley. You got two guys out there, they think that something's gonna happen, so it's understandable it has to happen. MVP gets sent to the back. King gets his ass kicked by Eli and goes to the back. And that's understandable. In the end, you got Lashley dealing with Rude, which was actually the second best match of the night. It wasn't the best match of the night, it was the second best. Now I'm very happy to see it. When it came to seeing Lashley bringing the title, well, you got to see him once in a while do it. He doesn't normally do that type of stuff, but seeing it is not taking away from the experience. And in the end, he still won clean. What does this mean? That means going to Bound for Glory, if they even go that far, Bobby Lashley will be defending against someone. We just don't know yet. We don't know who he's going to be defending against. Because he's now gone against Robert Roode. No, well, Bobby Roode, Robert Roode, doesn't really matter. But in the end, we don't know who he's going against. Maybe he'll go up against Bobby Roode again. Maybe he may go up against Austin Aries. Or someone else that'll be brought in. We already know Brodus Clay is coming to TNA. Who knows who else? Finally, the ladder match. The third in the series so far. Wolves, Hardy, and 3D. I said Hardy, not Hardys. For the simple fact, there might not be another Hardy after the way Jeff went through most of his work. Because at one point, you see Jeff literally get his abdomen crunched in by the ladder when he fell on it. I'm not saying that he's out. I'm just saying, sheesh. These ladder matches can be very, very, very physical. It didn't look totally physical all the time. But you gotta admit here, most of the ladder match was very physical. And I'll say it was the best match of the night. Easily. I gotta say Havoc is the third best match of the night. The Knockouts Battle Royal. Seeing Havoc win that was his third best match of the night. Rude and Lashley was the second, and this was the first for me personally. The reason I'm giving it the best match of the night was it was not the main event, of course. It was not far into it. It was somewhere in the middle, which I didn't have a problem with. The Wolves won, which makes me very happy. And I hope that now Kurt Angle will come out next week and say the final match will be a Bound for Glory. We won't be doing it now. That's what I'm hoping for because it's October 12th in Japan. I'm hoping with everything in me that this is done in Japan. And I have to say about Kurt Angle's not being seen much, this is how a GM's supposed to be, and I truly hope they keep him in this position. TNA, please, if you survive this, if you do get Spike or another network, keep Angle as the general manager. The work he's doing is excellent. How do I see this pay-per-view style Impact? It was a good Impact. It was a good pay-per-view class Impact. I did enjoy the entire show. Dealing with Gunner and Shaw was very good. The Battle Royal was done very well with Havoc. I'm glad to see Rebel's going to be doing something good. Seeing that Homicide and Joe didn't have a feud did bother me at first, and I'm not going to lie about that. But seeing Storm bring out Manic in new clothes with the Great Sonata, showing something's going to happen in the X Division, is something I want to see. Maybe this might be leading to Storm next year, getting the X Division Championship, and then doing Option C. And he goes off to face someone next year. And I hope you enjoyed this Zane's View. Please give me a comment below. I will be doing my next debate of the week, and this will be about Santino Marella. Some new information came out about him, so I'm going to be doing that. I hope you enjoy this. Have a good day. Peace out.